And we're on.
Huh.
Hello. So, like a year ago, we did a video called Death and Life Cycles. And I think we're going to do like a riff on that, kind of based on what we've been talking around today.
We're going to go a
Grief
bit
and
more
life
in depth.
cycles. So, where were you leading to earlier when we were talking about that?
So I started out this morning actually listening to a podcast, and they had a death doula on there, which was really intriguing for me to hear. And it's somebody that works with primarily like terminally ill people. And they don't do all the doctor stuff. They go in and they help out the families, like, and help them like learn how to adapt and kind of move on and face the things that they're feeling due to, you know, their loved one, you know, being at that point in their journey. But I really liked how he was explaining it. We grieve on a daily basis, and with the way we live our lives, society, we're just moving to the next thing, all the while we're grieving through it.
You don't take the time to heal and do all the necessary things, think through, feel through. I do that a lot.
Yeah, we push it back a lot because we have, you know, things, work, present moment, family matters, whatever, right in front of you. But grieving happens, honestly, multiple times a year. Whether you have, you know, friends that are no longer in your life that used to be, or, you know, you're getting out of like toxic situations or people that aren't really speaking to you anymore. There are so many examples.
And truth is, those situations suck and hurt for everybody involved, like they always do, and there's no way around it. No, like it's just an unfortunate part of life that those things happen sometimes, and it's never it's never easy.
It's not easy, and that's why like it is important to really feel what you feel and grieve through it. But yeah, he was just talking a lot about how to do those things and how to adapt to the new life, and you're getting a new identity while you're doing that. You're leaving, like, if you're really learning your lessons, you're leaving behind these ways of thinking and these ways of being. And a lot of people get into a place where they feel kind of like their mind doesn't settle. There's a lot of dust there. They can't really grasp on to, you know, who they are anymore, because it makes sense. You've lost a part of what you were for a long time.
It changes you as a person. It's scary to change it as a person.
And it's supposed to.
To become somebody different. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, you know, especially I look sometimes at past versions of myself, and I really enjoyed where I was and who I was and what I was doing. But most of those times I was just taking time on this learning process, that learning process. You know, I always have kind of a direction that I'm heading myself in, and something I'm dedicating like the heavier part of my energy to, in a learning, growing process. And I think those periods of self-rebirth are always very beautiful and tend to be blissful.
Yeah.
You know, when they can be, because realistically growth is painful. It's difficult. It's ripping apart, you know, who you are and discarding portions of your past self.
And you're energetically like aligning to things that are serving you whenever you leave behind situations like that, because it's really not serving anybody in that moment, like in that situation. It's not. If you're feeling these bad feelings all the time, or just feeling like you're not really feeling like you, as we were talking about earlier too, caring about yourself and pouring into your cup instead of other people's all the time, you're going to get so much further with that, because you're going to be authentically knowing what is you and what is not.
Actually learning to put yourself first and not pleasing everybody else all the time.
Yeah.
And that's just how I grew up, you know. It's who I've always been, as somebody that always thinks of everybody else. What can I do for you? How can I make your life easier? And meanwhile, I'm drowning.
You were trained and conditioned to be that way. And I think a lot of us can connect to that. We were trained to take care of other people. And whenever we start taking care of ourselves, it feels very selfish. And you will be told, most likely, that it is selfish. But it's not. it's beautiful and
It's
it
difficult
feels
to,
good.
it's hard to make that transition and stay in your normal stage of life too without changing pretty much everything, which is why I think it's been such a difficult ride and why it takes up so much of your time and space and energy. Because when you start to look at yourself, you know, like you said, people are going to call you out. You know, it's selfish that you're doing this, doing that. Well, I need to build me.
It's also tied into identity in that way. The egoic mind, it likes to feel helpful, whatever your egoic mind is telling you. So, in some way, you thrived off of doing those things for other people because you were taught that that's you. But whenever you really take a step back and like start reframing your mindset and who you are, is that really you? And that's where the ego has an attachment to those ways. That's how you are, what is the word? That's how you benefit other people. That's how
Yes.
you get love from other people. But is it real love or is it conditional?
Conditional. It's always conditional.
And conditional love can really hurt.
That's why you see those relationships break and fall apart. You know, everything changes in your life when you change what your expectations are from the world, you know?
Yeah. And yeah, I love how all those things tie into each other. But once you get to that space within yourself where you can start identifying all those different things, it gets a lot easier.
Most definitely. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. But I've definitely noticed substantial positive changes in my life since I've started kind of looking at things from an aspect of, you know, I have to be the one carrying me. I have to be the one making decisions that are going to benefit me and my future and my family and where I'm headed at. You know, I was never looking at that before. You know, I never had that kind of mindset. And it's empowering. It's very, very positive once I allowed it to be. When I got past those selfish feelings and, you know, putting myself down and whatever it may be, like just inhabit a version of yourself that you always wanted but felt like you couldn't have.
It's because you can have that. And honestly, you have to go through and you have to lose things that aren't serving you in that direction that you want to go in. As painful as it is a part of life.
Because the grieving process comes along with it.
Yes.
Everything that you shed, you're going to go through a process while you're also going through your growing process, and it can be very heavy. It can feel like a lot.
Imagine changing your perception on grieving too. Instead of it being like, oh, I gotta feel these feelings and like try to get through my day. If you change your mind to like, you know, that person meant a lot to me at one point in my life and I really, really love them and, you know, we're not connecting anymore, but like I really hope that they find what makes them happy, even if it's not me.
Absolutely.
That just the utmost love and respect for people, still loving them, but also still recognizing when they're no longer bringing something to your life that positively impacts you.
I think we've both rebounded pretty well from.
We've both had a year.
A year, yeah.
And it's not been easy.
No, it is not. Which was kind of why we needed a hiatus for a while and to do our own thing and figure some things out, where we're at, where we're heading, because what are we doing here if we're not discussing our triumphs over things that could have pulled us down or how we overcame, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's what we've always done, and it's what we're here to discuss.
I have a song lyric for that. I was listening to it on the way here.
Song lyrics are fantastic. Who is it by?
Wookiefoot.
Wookiefoot. I love Wookiefoot.
Wookiefoot. So this is, I think, All Do Well. No. 2 ways. Something like that. 2 ways. But it's in the darkness, I can see the stars. There's only 2 ways to learn in this life. When we get burned by the fire or when we see the light. Help me see the light. And like for the first time listening to that song, I was able to really I like the darkness, you can see the stars. So while you're down in that pit of you and you're like really feeling all these feelings, you're doing the work and you're going to see the light. It's going to come out. And then two ways to learn. Are you going to get burned by the fire, and are you going to keep getting burned by the fire? Or are you going to get burned by the fire, and are you going to see the light after that? See the light in the fire. Which fire is light? I don't know. I don't
It
know.
makes sense. It definitely makes sense. The
I
light isn't
connected
there to
with it.
burn you. The light isn't there to hurt you. It's something that's ushering in, future period of bliss, prosperity, maybe. It's very positive.
We all have journeys, and I love that word. It's probably one of my favorite words I've learned since healing is like, I say like, good luck on your journey. And I really do mean it. Like, we're all souls that are experiencing what we're experiencing. But I think a lot of us at one point in time have had trauma or have been damaged, and there is some type of perception change. And that perception, it's really hard not to see the people around you being the people that have hurt you. But whenever you start that healing process and you're able to recognize that like every new person you meet is somebody new. It's not somebody that's done that to you, even if they have like qualities. Then you're able to really see this new piece of the universe in front of you that you can get to know. And I think that's really cool. And that's not something I could do a year ago because I was really, really stuck in my trauma.
We all learn and we grow and tend to treat people in a matter of your state of being. And if that's become something that is enhanced from what it used to be, everybody has a past, everybody has made mistakes, but that's why I don't fully listen when, somebody's name comes up and, somebody trashes them or whatever it may be. For one, I don't care for that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Speak positively or don't speak at all. I don't like gossip by nature because, what is this benefiting in any way? So I've had plenty of situations, and I think everyone has, where that would happen. Oh, that person, blah blah blah, this, that about them, and then maybe that's who they were before.
Yeah.
We're all on a journey of growing and becoming better people, becoming who we're going to be. You make those small adjustments and you keep growing as a person, and that's what those new experiences are for. You can't put anybody in a box with an experience that you had in the past, or what happened to you, in this relationship or in this situation, because that's just part of emotional health and emotional growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've studied a lot lately within myself, is separating that, emotional reaction and just rationalizing and rewiring that part of my brain. Like, nothing, it's not always doom and gloom.
That's a big part of post-traumatic stress disorder too, is your amygdala, like a whole bunch of hormones rush to it. Your logical side of your brain is literally shut off. So you only have this emotional side going. By the way, breathing oxygen can help bring back your logical side. Where was I going with that? I got really lost because I get excited.
Oh, yes. Separating rational from the irrational.
So whenever you're able to like really like, this is something I heard the other day too that I really liked. Like, is this thought helpful? Is this thing I'm about to say, is it going to be helpful?
Yes.
In any way? Or am I having an emotional reaction that I need to sit with? And I love that, because I do that a lot. I'm like, okay, here we go again, brain. You're feeling the things. Let's sit down and figure it out. Where'd it come from? Is it present? Is it past?
Classic think before you speak as well.
Yes.
Because your words matter. Words have meaning. Words mean not only a lot more than what we give them credit for, but everything.
Yeah. What they said back in the day, sticks and stones break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Flubber.
Yeah, somebody was lying to themselves and everyone around them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And anybody that lives a life like that is just bitter. Nothing you can say is, well, so, like, you rule the world?
I think
your
there's
opinion's all that matters?
I really feel like we all rule our own world. So like, it is your universe. Everybody else is just living in it. How do you want it to feel? How do you want it to be? How do you want to be treated?
I want to be able to interact with people and have those difficult conversations and, you know, not in an adult way, in a grown way, you know, constructive criticism, disagreements, processing that well, being able to have those talks and be realistic and rational about it. Look at that from a positive insight and take something from it.
Yeah. And that's why, like, as we've been talking about growing, what was the word we were using earlier? Grieving.
Words.
Grieving. Okay. Grieving, adapting.
Life cycles.
Yeah. All of that ties into that. I'm so lost right now.
Everything's tied together.
Everything's tied together.
Our tongues are tied together.
I love talking about this stuff, but I get excited and I'm like, ooh, thought. Which one do I want to cling to?
The one more that I had from earlier is coming from the life that I lived before where I never came first and I didn't matter. I think I've learned that a sense of freedom it kind of made me fearful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'd never been in my own driver's seat before, and I was a big what if type of person. Always be prepared, always have a plan, have a backup plan, you know. Sometimes it's just not feasible. Is that in a way living through your own anxiety, like manifesting that?
I'm pretty sure that's just like, that stems from a life of survival mode.
Yeah.
So it's not really living. And a life that you build that is something secure and safe, you don't feel that way and you don't have to.
And I'm learning that. It's not near as bad. You know, before that idea of being in charge of myself and making my own decisions and just having a freedom and not worrying about anything else or anyone else was just terrifying. You know, it felt wrong. It didn't feel okay. Like, I need a team. You know, we have to navigate this. But
it is different whenever, like, you let go of those things and you're able to be, like, in your present moment, and it is scary not knowing what to do with all this extra time that you have that you're not spending on other people in that way, because now, like, you're spending on yourself. But I think it takes just a little bit at a time to be able to get to a place where, like, you feel more comfortable that you can do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that old version of you.
Definitely. I can have more, I'm worthy of more, and I owe it to myself to
You do.
do that.
You can have heaven on earth or hell on earth. Which one are you going to choose? I think I'd rather go towards the light.
Definitely.
It feels good.
I'm going to feed the good wolf.
Mm-hmm. What's a good wolf?
There's the proverb, you know, you have two wolves inside of you. One is a positive, and one is very negative. Which one grows?
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know much of
the one you feed. I don't remember
of
where
the
the proverb
things.
came from. I've just read a lot of things.
Yeah, I like that.
It was always one of my favorites.
Well, it's true. If you keep investing in the good in your life and being grateful and recognizing and letting people that you know that are good in your life, that you love them and you appreciate them, that builds a vibration on its own. You're already living in a higher vibration. But if you're in that mindset where you're feeding all the negative things that happen to you, you're going to feel all the negative things. What is it that you used to tell me? With that attitude.
With that, yeah, that was just my catchphrase.
Constantly, he told me that for like a whole month, and I would get so mad. But then eventually I was like, oh, okay. Got it.
It is the attitude. The attitude makes who you are. It makes what you focus on, at least.
Oh, yeah.
It can be difficult to stay on track, but, you know, that's just part of the struggle like anything else. Growth, you know? That was a good 5-minute long attempting to close out.
I didn't know.
Yeah, me
I
too.
can keep talking.
Get on the fringe. I
I
mean,
talk about this stuff all day.
yeah, they're good subjects.
I do talk about this stuff quite often, actually. I've made my life that way, and I very much love it.
It's positive. It's good to grow. Good to grow together. Good to grow in groups. Good to help others grow. Good to listen to others and their stories of how they've grown. That's why we would like comments. When I hear the feedback. Feedback always good.
Yeah.
Even if it's not good, which it
That's
always
okay.
has been good. What we're going to take from it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Because that's how we do things.
Yeah.